In this video, we're going to be talking about a potentially risky place to meet a woman because if not handled appropriately, you could lose your job, but can also be a great place, and that is your work. The good news is, if handled appropriately, you can absolutely approach your coworker crush, and it can actually be a great place to meet a woman. If we haven't met before, my name's Blaine, I'm a dating coach for men, and welcome to my channel. Stigma aside, your office actually can be a great place to meet a woman because you're already spending a lot of time there, maybe a lot more time there than you're spending other places you could potentially meet women. You generally have things in common with your colleagues, like lifestyle, interest, and values. There's absolutely precedent. A lot of people meet their significant others at work. In fact, according to a 2018 survey of 2,000 people, 36% reported dating a colleague. I'll link that study below. Plus, plenty of famous people, Michelle and Barack Obama, for example, not to mention a slew of actors and actresses, have met at work. And it's oftentimes a lot better than the alternatives. Would you rather tell people you met your girlfriend at a bar or on Tinder, or at work? Still, there are absolutely right and wrong ways to approach a woman that you work with. So to successfully initiate with your coworker crush, you need to do a few things. You need to be the guy she wants to date, spot signs she likes you, ask her out appropriately, and always follow the one-strike rule. So let's get into what each of those things really means. You're probably aware there is stigma around dating in the workplace, and women can be hesitant to date male coworkers because of the downside risk. They don't want awkwardness in the office, like if you go through a bad breakup and now they have to bump into you in the cafeteria, or reputational harm like water cooler gossip, or conflicts of interest like being involved in a decision that affects an ex. This really has two consequences for you. First, women tend to have higher standards for dating guys they meet at work than guys they meet in other contexts. Second, it means you need to position yourself as somebody your female colleague can trust if you want her to consider exploring a romantic relationship with you. Basically, she needs to feel like you genuinely care about her, you're motivated by your connection, not your ego or something else, and you're not gonna be a nuisance if things don't work out. This is true of any woman you're interested in, but especially a woman you work with. Being the type of guy a woman wants to date is outside the scope of this video, but in short, you need to avoid office drama and gossip, treat yourself and others around the office with respect, and kick ass at your job. One last thought on being the type of guy a female coworker wants to date. I have heard a lot of experts say that you should never date within your chain of command, but I actually don't feel like this makes sense because, first of all, I know plenty of happily married couples who met at work and one was the boss and one was the former report. And second, it's a moot point because if you are already attracted to that person and have a crush on them, whether you pursue them or not, there's still gonna be a conflict of interest. Still, especially if your crush is within your chain of command, make sure you study the relevant HR policies, you consider the risk, and you use good judgment and don't rush things. Aside from being the type of guy your female colleague wants to date, you also now need to look for signs that she is interested in you. Signs that your colleague is interested in you really aren't that different than signs that any woman is interested in you, but let's talk about some workplace specific examples that you can keep an eye out for. She seeks you out to discuss topics unrelated to work, like she slacks you or texts you memes or articles about current events. She takes interest in your personal life, like she genuinely seems interested in what you're doing this weekend. She remembers what you said, like she asks about your parents on Monday after you mentioned you were visiting them on Friday. She gravitates towards you at social events, like you were engrossed in conversation your entire holiday party. She has your back, like she takes your side if an issue arises or she covers for you. She pays you compliments, like saying you did a great job on that project or that you look really nice in that suit. She laughs at your jokes, especially those dad jokes that don't really require a laugh. She seeks out opportunities to be alone with you, like accompanying you on an errand that you would otherwise have to do by yourself. And she's flirty and touchy with you. Hopefully that one doesn't require too much explanation. So if you see most of these signs, there is a good chance that she likes you. Just remember that none of these signs demonstrate romantic interest on their own. Even if you saw all 10 of them, she could just really like you as a friend. The only way to know for certain if she sees romantic potential with you is to ask her out. So let's talk about how to do that. When you're asking out a colleague, less is more when it comes to romance. Unless you are absolutely certain there is a shared romantic interest, and especially if you haven't spent one-on-one time together outside of the office, a romantic dinner is not the right place to start when you ask her out. Instead, keep it simple and say something like, "What would you think of grabbing a drink outside of the office sometime?" Obviously, it doesn't have to be drinks. It can be anything that you think you would both enjoy doing together. And if you need inspiration for low-key date ideas, check out my video on it, which I will link in the description. And just a quick note here, normally I would say it is good to express romantic intent directly when you ask a woman out, but when it comes to asking out a colleague, it's better to play it safe and err on the side of caution. You will still learn everything you need to know based on her answer, and you can be more direct about your romantic interest, assuming your first out-of-office one-on-one hang goes well. The other important thing to consider when you're asking out a colleague is that you should do it face-to-face. Zoom, Slack, Teams, text, whatever communication you use to chat with your colleague can be great for building trust and rapport, but is not good for initiating romance. If you're ready to ask your female colleague out, wait until the next time you are physically together in person. This will give you a better sense of her reaction. It is bolder and more direct, which women like, and you won't be misappropriating work tools for personal purposes. Which brings me to following the one strike rule. Many companies like Meta and Google have adopted the one strike you are out policy. It is okay to ask a colleague out, but if they don't explicitly say yes, do not ask again. I am a huge fan of the one strike policy, whether you are asking out a work colleague or any other woman. It applies to both friendly advances that you might use to initiate romance later, like asking her for coffee, and also directly communicating your feelings, like telling her, "I've started to develop feelings for you." Just remember to treat anything that isn't a clear yes as a no. This includes vague responses like, "Oh, that sounds really nice, but I'm really busy with work right now." Or, "Sorry, I'm out of town." Or, "I'd really like to, but I can't right now. Sorry." Do not be guilty of wishful thinking. These all mean no thanks. And especially in a work environment, a woman might have a hard time saying no directly, which makes it all the more important to treat anything that isn't an explicit yes like a no. I hope you found that helpful, and just to quickly distill what we covered, you want to make sure you have demonstrated you're the type of guy she wants to date. You want to look for signs that she likes you. You need to appropriately ask her out and always follow that one strike rule. If you follow that sequence, you should be good to go for asking out your coworker crush. Let me know in the comments what other places you find it tricky to approach women so I can make a video on it. And most importantly, tap that subscribe button so you will be the first to know when I upload new videos weekly. Introducing my coworker crush.